March 22, 2:14 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 3. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Justice for All. We are continuing with the trial, which I guess we just have one day in solving, so that will be fun. Dude, I can't believe that Andrian, no way, not cool and collective Andrian Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner, was her. So after the ceremony, don't that break her? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yeah, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial is over. It'll be alright. You're acquainted by the end of the day. Get me a verdict that refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews dependent on Miss Impact as her strength and reason to live. But the Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it. And the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Miss Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about the relationship? Bella stated Miss Andrews' dependency issue with regards to Miss Impact's. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he is still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet. March 22nd, 2:25 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness supponde by this court. Miss Andrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Miss Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this court, Mr. Matt Engard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Oh, yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing. I would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relationship to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was private matters between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Remind me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there is someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. When I found the body, it was time for the show to start, so I went to get the Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime, and I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing, and that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness, Phoenix. She's one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontation. You should disturb her pacing. Disrupt her pacing. She is the type of woman who is easily thrown off by thinking inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? It was time for the show to start so I went to get Matt from his room. And what was Mr. Engard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Engard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out. I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? What are you? Right, I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Engard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right, did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. After that, I went to Jan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon, what are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had more personal matters to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intent in mind, and that at the time. I can't get it to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now, witness? What did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock. What? Was it not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feeling for Mr. Corridor. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with it being shocked or not. I see. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. It's the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like that too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice. Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on the. There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock, and that's when you poured yourself a glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you good today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that as you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one in the floor in the crime photo? The mass of glass shards was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry, I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, the people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked over the flower away. Okay, present. There was the guitar. Empty. There is some water, but only on the top of the lid. So it was closed when the vase fell down. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are shattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shot should be inside, not outside the case. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may be very well be, however. Empty guitar case doesn't seem to have no relationship. Case, does it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would research for straws like this, but it's you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'm following along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. The guitar case. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This is a wakefulness in such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. Oh crap. I don't know. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see. Are you sure you are the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taken over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Miss Corrida's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I wouldn't think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open the guitar case. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with, I'm sure that our weapon is hiding somewhere in the court records, waiting to be found. Empty, there's some water, but only the top of the lid. There's Corrida's fingerprints. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on the guitar case are those of the victim. Huh? What What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left fingerprints just because I've touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you wear gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I was dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm also sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Found it bears Andrew's fingerprints, so she did not wear gloves, so yeah. I have your proof right there. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left fingerprints were very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Oh, that was impressive. Order. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case played a very important role here, but it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty though. But the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix? Drop all your presumption. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was bright white? It was a bright white guitar. Wait, that's not right either. I admit, it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case, Your Honor, this is obviously defense usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and loss all into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it was wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case was has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar was not the only thing. You don't mean to suggest that a bright black? Yeah. So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case in the time of the murder? Suicide report. The suicide note. And why would something like that be inside the guitar case, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright, why? Well, just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain is supposed to be? Yes, and never bring it out again. Can't a foolish fool get some love? Do you still think you can prove your theory? Can you prove that the guitar case was not empty at the time of the murder? I wouldn't say something I didn't prove. Okay. If it wasn't a suicide note, then... This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture, it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right? Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out the costume? What an insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support your preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigating photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get a shot, correct? Yeah, you mean this photo? Order. It looks like we wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai costume would have been Mr. Matt Engard. Why would something of the defendant be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was in the Nickel Samurai costume doing inside guitar case? It was a spare costume. Mr. Engel did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Miss Corrida, was the jamming ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling up to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Seems that the Nickel Samurai still confessed something at the post-ceremony stage show. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference. Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Miss Engel himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was a setup by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold a press conference as the nickel samurai. He was going to dress up as the nickel samurai and hold a conference. But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The nickel samurai was going to confess something, and by confess I wager it was going to reveal something about himself, which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the nickel samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, then that's not a confession, that's a public disclosure. Miss Andrews? I can't see why you pros at what you do. I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Just as you say, the press conference was a setup by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Jamming Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looks like somehow Juan had his hands a secret so powerful that it would have destroyed Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? And do you know what this secret of Mr. Engard is, Miss Andrews? That is something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Engard. And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. Protecting Matt. Okay, I think this is the perfect place where to stop. And we are continuing with the rest of the trial next time. So, adios, have a great day, subscribe if you haven't.